Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back to another Limbus Company reaction. We've been doing a lot of Millie stuff recently, but apparently Canto VIII is done, so I'm going to be listening to Boss 1, Battle Theme 1, because that was the one I saw the most commonly in the comments throughout the past, 2 weeks. But also I'm going to tie in one from a Patreon producer who wanted me to get to Battle Theme D2, so I'm going to do both of those separately, just in one video. I'm going to do the Boss Theme first, and then the Battle Theme next. But yeah, it's just been a while since I've heard anything from Limbus, so this is going to be kind of nice to get back to this. I loved the little vacation we took with Millie, but at the same time you kind of start to miss something in the music when you don't hear it after a while. So here we are, and without further ado, let's go. The immediate sting of a boss theme. Ooh. That has a march to it. Like a dredge. Very heavy. Love that falling string section. Just a staircase downward. Woo! Already starting to abuse those minor keys. Ooh, the flute? Hold on. Oh, man. I love that. It's such a good progression. The dun 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 dun. It's such a great way to build up tension. Woo! Haven't heard that in a while. That fluttering on the horns. Oh. Again, the little bits of flute we're getting. They're making it sound so much more ominous by including those. For some reason, it shouldn't feel like a bop, but it does. I love that. That's so neat. Using the flute not only as a scream, but that's actually a technique used in battle a lot. Traditionally, of course. Separation too. Bringing the horns up, dropping the sub horns low. Beating you over the face with that low end brass. I love that so much. Oh man, it's been too long. It's been too long since I've heard this soundtrack. All right, what a great song to start with when I'm coming back to this soundtrack for real. I loved the energy of that one. I love all of the little things it was doing to make it feel so much more personal to the character. And as per usual, I'm guessing entirely here when I talk about the character traits I'm getting off of these songs, but this gave me power, sheer influence, somebody who who is to be respected, if mostly by fear, but definitely has this intensity about them as a person, most likely, that makes the song feel like this. Somebody who can match this energy, whether or not they want to is kind of always up for the cause of what they're fighting for. It's just a matter of the song reflecting that and their intent to kick your ass, which is pretty much always what you want a boss theme to have as an energy, is somebody who feels like a threat. And I feel like in this, there's a lot more to their presence than just being scary. I feel like there is a respectable person in there, somebody who earned that like respect, not just through fear, but also most likely status, or maybe something that they did, a philanthropic act at some point in their life. I wouldn't be surprised there. Just something that got them to, like, the community respects them, and as such, they carry this weight behind them that feels like a nation backing them up, even though it's not really, and it definitely has some more darker intensity to it. It feels like a warmonger's theme, but also there are aspects in here that were kind of giving me this sense that there's more to that story, like those flutes in there that I kept talking about. They were small, and mostly they seemed to be wood flutes, albeit I do think there was a metal flute in there because there was some like high pitch tone resonance, but that's also getting way too technical for what I'm trying to do here. Basically, this song had moments where there were flutes in there, and in pretty much all Asian cultures, when you hear a flute, they're connected in some way to spirituality or some other more like light effort, not a warmonger, you know, like there's a different energy there. And the way that they were using it was also very haunting. Like I mentioned, they used to do this in battle in multiple different cultures, like you think of the Aztecs and the death whistle thing. That's also kind of what I'm going for here. There were a lot of cultures that utilized the flute and its fall, like that ability to bend its pitch as you play, as basically mimicking a human voice. Like if they're marching up to someone and they want you dead, they'll signal it by having a flute sound like somebody's screaming. It's basically like kind of giving them a voice before they get there. Like, this is what you're gonna hear when we show up, bitch. Square the fuck up. Like, it's just what they did. It was a very widespread thing in all of history. It's been done for generations and hundreds and probably thousands of years. It's just one of those things that a lot of cultures decided that sounded cool, was here's a hollow thing that makes a cool noise, let's blow into it, and eventually if you kill enough people while blowing into that, it will be associated with death. So there's that correlation, but also the fact that it does have those connections to spirituality, where the other times in the song it was being played, it was just accentual. So that's kind of what's making me feel like while this song does have this like big, heavy, intense warmongery energy, somebody who definitely is demanding respect at this point, not necessarily asking kindly. They want you to, so they're going to get you to shut the fuck up and sit down, but also there is that lighter sound that's kind of supporting it once in a while. It's like just kind of sprinkled on there, making you feel like, okay, well, maybe it's not all that bad. Maybe there is some like redeemable quality about this person. Maybe they're not fighting for something that's awful. Maybe they're just misguided, or you are misguided in your understanding of them and their situation. There's so many ways politically that could go that I'm not going to try to dissect all of that out of one song. But this song had that energy of fuck you, I'm the boss, but also, you know what? There's other reasons for this, and we have to sit down and talk about those at some point, but we're not going to. You know, we need to fight right now, then the politics can show up afterwards. It's very much like, oh, you didn't read my scroll, so we're sending the army, but like, when your men are dead, then we can talk mano a mano. That might be getting way too ahead of the curve. I might be completely wrong with that. I'm being very bold for some reason about that assertion, so maybe I'm correct, but I tend to be kind of hit or miss on these, so let me know if I am correct, but I need to move on to the other song. So let's listen to what this other battle theme D2 is, shall we? Oh, wait a minute. Okay, that's... Is that an arrow? Whoa. Again with the flutes in there. Whew. Tilting more towards the minor key way off, right off the bat. The intensity is still there for this. I can definitely see how these would be related just in overall theme. Oh, this is really interesting, actually. Oh, we get a break. Whoa. We got a few different instruments in this one. Ooh. But still that intensity. Okay. Yeah, that's definitely not like the same exact theme or anything. You could tell it's thematically similar, but it's totally its own thing. That kind of okay, it doesn't necessarily change my opinion of the last song, but it does give me a different perspective of like the overall picture of what's happening here. So this one was a little bit more intense. It was definitely a little bit more creative with how it was approaching certain like chromatic scale things in here. And to avoid getting way too technical on that, basically that's just the half step notes, like those like notes right next to each other in a scale, those very subtle adjustments that often make you go, huh, whoa, what was that? And they kind of fuck with you a little bit. And there was a lot more of that in this one, but it kept that intensity. So I feel like this is a theme to someone or something that feels a little bit more broken than the other song. That was clearly a boss. It had a lot more intensity, but it was also better put together. This one feels more like a struggle in a way, like they're not entirely sure how they're going to win this, but they have to try no matter what. It's their duty, so they're doing so. And that's a different perspective from the other one. Definitely thematically similar. They definitely have very many similarities in them, but this one has a lot more room to play with, I guess. There's more to mess around with because it feels broken. There's more stuff you can do with that. There's more instruments you can play with that kind of give you that more like fragile vibe. And that might be why they're using an eru, because an eru has the ability to sound a little bit frail. Usually it can sound beautiful and graceful, and that's mostly why people include it. But for this one, it almost sounded hectic and like it's fighting for its life to an extent. It didn't feel like it was doing its usual thing of like, oh wow, such a beautiful field. Ooh, I love the countryside. You know, like stuff most people traditionally would associate with an eru sound, something a lot more flowy. This one just sounded like somebody was trying to play that for their fucking lives and didn't know exactly what to play next. They were just like, yeah, just struggling to be able to get the song out. And that definitely changes my perspective of where the story was going. Not necessarily of my opinion of the last one. I think I'm still in the ballpark of that one. At least I hope I am. But for this one, it definitely feels more like it's a person, most likely, that you're fighting, or a group of people that don't really have a clear goal. It's a little bit more hectic and disorganized like that, whereas the other one was a lot better put together, like I said. So I think that's the main difference there, because otherwise you can definitely tell they're from the same like area or the same part of the game, because they have a lot of thematic similarities, but definitely a completely different energy behind them. This one sounded way more like people who just had no clue what the fuck was going on, and the other one was just more like, I am what's going on. Sit down. So I think that's about all I can say on it, though. Beautiful. Also just really fun messing around with all of those like minor adjustments and those chromatic moments. Just, you know, I love it when they do that. Just fucking with the sound a little bit to make you go, woo, ooh, I don't know if I like that, but also it fixes itself just enough to be able to hold it together. And that's always a really cool thing when musicians do that, when composers put that sort of stuff together. They weave such intricate emotions in there when they do that, and it's just like, oh, I don't know the story, but now it kind of makes me want to figure it out, you know, like, what's going on here? Are we in a war-torn location? Is the warmonger the guy I just talked about? Is that actually what's happening here? And these people are just, you know, blindly following them because they don't know what else to do. They don't know what else to believe. Is that what's happening? Or are they struggling to protect somebody they believe in wholeheartedly and doing it fully out of their own goodness, and they believe that he is correct and he's not incorrect. It's just like we haven't figured that out yet. There are so many ways to take that story, but I feel like this belongs to a person or people that are basically fighting on behalf of that boss and just do not have their shit quite as together as he does. You know, this definitely gives off like confused, angry mob compared to the other, which felt a lot more like assured. You know, the boss obviously would be a lot more ready to handle you at the time you showed up, so that kind of makes sense. But I love hearing these two tonal differences, hearing one that's so well put together and then hearing one that's like completely the opposite of that, but still kind of familiar in that way where they have the thematic similarities. But I'm yapping now, as I have been, so I'm going to end it here. Thank you all so very much for watching. Thank you to everybody who put this into the queue. If you want me to get to other stuff from Canto 8, by all means, leave it in the comments below and I will do my best. I plan to get into more of the Limbus stuff coming back to that since we did a bunch of Millie stuff, but if there's a Millie song you want me to get to as well, throw that down there for all I care. And of course, thank you to Quirky Person who put in D2 into the executive producer queue so I could get to that one. And if anyone else has something they want to guarantee out of me, you can of course join my Patreon or my YouTube memberships. There's a tier that will guarantee a request or more out of me. I don't care what it is. You know, it could be from anything, any game, any property. Copyright really isn't an issue with those because you're paying for it. So if you want me to get to something and guarantee it, you can always do that. But otherwise, if you just enjoyed this video and you want to follow me and support me for more stuff in the future, you know how to do all that, and I will see you all in the next video. Goodbye!